soul, there is a fire, and it's burning through the rain. Quiet the fear, focus your eyes. Don't you know that you were made to run the race? You've been knocked down, but you're not quite out. You're on the ropes, looking at the crowd. They cheer you on, can you hear the sound? It's time to rise up and take back the crown. Don't give up, the prize is up ahead. Don't lose hope, this is not the end. You gotta remember, deep in your soul, there is a fire, and it's burning through the pain. Quiet the fear, focus your eyes. Don't you know that you were made to run the race? You show this world what to fight for. Courage comes in darkest storms. God gives you power to endure. Don't give up, the prize is up here. Don't lose hope, this is not the end. You gotta remember, deep in your soul, there is a fire, and it's burning through the pain. Quiet the fear, focus your eyes. Don't you know that you were made to run the race? You were made to run the race. You were made to run. You were made to run. Oh, you were made to run. Oh, deep in your soul, there is a fire, and it's burning, burning, burning. Quiet the fear, focus your eyes. Don't you know that, you were made to run the race? You made to run the race. You
So I decided to title my newest album Human because it's my heart to be really transparent and vulnerable with the listeners who choose to listen to my music. And so I had written a few songs already. I hadn't written Human, the title track, yet, but it was like I had a moment of inspiration where I felt God was leading me to title the project Human. I felt like it encapsulated the idea of real life and being transparent in an obvious way. So the songs that followed, including Human, and a song I wrote for my grandma, and a song I wrote for my brother, and there's more you can check out, kind of sit under the compass or the umbrella of Human. So a few life events have happened since my last album, Everything I Need, and one of those includes getting married, which is super fun. Got married to my now husband. His name is Chris, and we've been traveling doing ministry together now, which has been a blast. And then I also lost my grandmother in November. Unfortunately, she unexpectedly died, and that kind of had a weird effect on the project as well, but it's been an interesting season of learning how to walk through loss that you don't expect. And then I wrote a song for my brother Luke, who he's living away from home, and so just a note of encouragement for him. And so that's kind of another fun little season that we've been walking through as siblings. That doesn't give a lot of detail, but it's kind of fun. A song that feels very personal to me that's on my new project, Human, would be Sailing. And Sailing is the song that I wrote for my grandmother who passed away. It was an unexpected loss in my life, and I had actually written this song 2 days before she passed away, and I knew her health wasn't very good at the time, and so I'd always wanted to write a song for her, and it just happened to work out that the song was written at that time. Well, then 2 days later, I got a call from my mom saying that she had some things happen to where it didn't look like she was going to make it through the end of that day. And so the morning she passed away, we actually recorded some of the vocals on that song. And it's just a song that deals with my personal loss of somebody I was really close to. I mean, think second mom. My grandma was really close to me. But it also is for anybody who has struggled with the loss of somebody that they love and learning how to say goodbye when you really don't want to. So a few of the producers that were on this album, actually all of them, were Brian Fowler. He wrote and produced Run the Race with me. And then Matthew Parker did a handful of those songs. I think he did about 4 of them. And then David Tulane did a couple songs as well. And the team was so much fun. I had a blast recording this album, and the songs that came together and that were written are songs that I'm more proud of than I could ever say. I don't even know how to say that. I'm so excited about them. So if you get a chance to check it out, these guys did incredible work producing the project, and I'd love for you to hear it. This project is different musically than my previous albums in that the production is way more pop. So I've always kind of had a pop influence in my music, but I've kind of toyed around with pop worship, I've toyed around with rock pop, but this album is a true pop project. And so there's a lot more electronic sounds, a little more, some EDM influence even, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it's a little different than the previous albums, but it's something I'm really excited about. My overall hope for people who listen to Human is that they feel like they can relate. Also that they can dance. They can have a good time. Throw on the music, be in their car, just having a good time wherever they're going. But mostly that you can relate to the songs that I've written for you. I've always wanted to be an artist who people can listen to the songs and feel like you know me, because your situation is similar to mine. And because I feel like when we come together on the same playing ground of life, and we can relate, there's just this really cool thing that happens called relationship, and it makes you and I both feel like we're not alone. And so that's my goal through this album. Okay. So since I began writing songs years ago, my songwriting has changed in a lot of ways, and it's changed in not so many ways. It just depends on where I look at it. But one way that's changed a lot is my ability to welcome advice from people who hear my songs and change them accordingly. So not necessarily the meat and the message of the song, but the clarity of the lyrics. So I've become a much better lyricist over the years in making sure that my songs are pointedly saying what needs to be said. But the thing that hasn't changed is my heart behind the songs and the message behind why I'm writing music. And that is to bring awareness or draw people into the goodness and bigness of God. I mean, when we think about how huge He is and the fact that He spoke the earth into existence, it causes me, and hopefully you to join me as well, to trust Him with all the little details of life. So that influence on my songwriting has stayed the same, and I'm really thankful for that. So something unique that has happened in my life over the last few years, unfortunately it was birthed out of sorrow that my grandmother was facing, and that's her widowhood. She was a widow for about 7 years. But something beautiful has already started to come from that, and that's this passion that I've been starting to have for raising awareness for widows. So whether you are a widow yourself or you know somebody who is a widow, my passion is to bring awareness to everybody, to make sure that we are reaching out to those who are alone, specifically widows. My grandmother, like I said, she was a widow for 7 years, and for the last 4 years of her widowhood, I got to walk really closely with her through that, and it just broke my heart in a lot of ways, but also challenged my faith and challenged my willingness to get out and be courageous and do something for those people who are alone. So what I've done is I've started to make these necklaces, and they have the word yes on them. And what happens is if you buy one, I'll give you 2, and one is for you as a reminder to you to trust God, that He is big and that He can carry all of us through the things that we go through. But the second one is meant for you to give to a widow that you know, as a token and reminder to them that God's got them too. But not only that, it gives them the opportunity to feel loved by you extending something to them. It shows them that they're thought of and cared for, when a lot of the time they can feel alone and by themselves. So it's kind of a new aspect that I'm starting to incorporate into the ministry, and I'm really, really excited about it. So I'll be on the road all of December for a Christmas tour out on the West Coast, so you can catch me on some tour dates out there. And then I'll be, let's see, even before that in the fall, I'll be in Arizona and New Mexico, so you can check my website for more dates there, which is hollystarrmusic.com.